So, what challenges does that present? When you try to talk about this or explain this or show this, what kind of reactions do you get and how do you navigate that?
Yeah. Oh, I love that question. It actually reminds me of a few years ago when I would be asked, like, okay, you work with hedge fund managers or you work with engineers, computer scientists. How do you convince them of the value of diversity of people
Hmm.
or diversity of skills when there are many taken for granted? I guess, like limiting ideas that come from the media, or we think that we're experts in many areas. People will say, I have a gender. So they think I'm an expert in gender. It's like you are an expert in your own experience of gender. You don't necessarily have an expertise in the history of gender relations, the power dynamics involved in that. So there's always more than one layer. And I have found something that has given me confidence to present arguments to people who are used to being the authority in their
Hmm.
own life, their own experience, as being the number of people I've worked with in different countries and different sectors. And I think my ability really and my genuine interest in connecting with that person and learning what their priorities are. Because I think that as soon as you have a role, which I was in for a number of years, strategic change management, people do get defensive, not just because they don't want their entire job description to shift, but I think there's something even more fundamental that we know our life experience matters, that our lens on the world is valuable. So for someone to come in and say, you're wrong, you don't
Hmm.
really know how the world works, that doesn't go well. So I take the approach that we can always connect about something, we can always agree about something, and that I'm not coming in to tell somebody what is right or wrong. I'm here to share different perspectives, different lenses, different types of knowledge. When I think knowledge is it's an anchoring word that I use in any type of trainings or advisory work that I do because there's a difference between information, data, research, and knowledge. And I would argue that knowledge is something that we know has value. It's a knowing. When we ask, does that make sense? We're using beyond our five senses. If something makes sense, it resonates with us. It's resonant in our mental frameworks, our emotional frameworks. And so connecting with people, understanding what their emotional priorities are, I find is something that's missing from a lot of conversations, but that's how I sort of create buy-in from even the skeptics.
Yeah. And I think a key component of that, which I'm listening to, is you're still allowing them to make their own choices, right? You're not forcing an idea onto them and you are constantly validating and checking. And it's okay if they do not want to play or say
Yeah.
they're not open to those ideas.
Yes, and I think a big part of that is to say, you might not feel like this resonates now. That happens to me too. We're always changing and deciding where do we want to focus our attention or our preferences now. If you take the assumption that everything coming into your experience has value and that you can ask the other person to believe in that too, that they may not resonate with everything that you are suggesting at the time,
Hmm.
but once you go away and think about it and remember past experiences or realize, okay, maybe I didn't have the right frame of reference at the time, but I need time to digest this. I think there's a lot of value in that.